Breaking news. Tigrayan forces have captured the town of Gobo in the counteroffensive taken in the past 3 days. The forces have also captured Gugdo or Fosika, Zobul, Mendefera, Robit, Sowach Mariam, and Toklash. In a statement today, Tigray Military Command said the counterattack covered distances of 140 kilometers, in which 23 divisions of Ethiopian National Defense Forces, along with the Amhara Special Forces and Fano Vigilante Group, have participated. The statement also highlighted the government of Tigray has repeatedly expressed that the only way out to this conflict is through peaceful negotiation, warning that if Abiy Ahmed's government does not take the route to peace, all necessary measures will be taken to save its people from the genocide declared on it. Tigray Central Command issued a statement today urging the international community to put pressure on Abiy Ahmed's government to come into peaceful settlement of the conflict to prevent the state failure and a complete destabilization of the region. The statement also said as part of its invasion, the Ethiopian government has conducted an airstrike in the district of Raya Azabo on Thursday and in a children's playground in Magala on Friday, causing the death of several civilians. The Central Command also asked the international community to force Abiy Ahmed's government to come into negotiations, in addition to making it accountable for its continued international crimes. Tigray External Affairs Office issued a statement on Friday regarding the airstrike in children's playground and in kindergarten in Magala that has killed 7 civilians, including children. The statement called this airstrike hurtless and condemned the international community for its silence in light of Ethiopian government's determination to starve and bomb the people of Tigray. For more, I will Gavu.
Tigray External Affairs Office issued a statement on Friday regarding the airstrike on a kindergarten in Magala, where it said the attack showed the cruelty of the authorities in Addis Ababa. The statement said the airstrike claimed the lives of several civilians, including children, with their bodies torn into pieces. The office called on the international community to leave its notion that Abiy Ahmed's government can be a sincere partner in ensuring peace, adding that asking both sides to cease hostilities, while in fact the Ethiopian government continues to starve and bomb the people of Tigray, is following the fundamental moral test of humanity. The statement also stated that the international community's indifference to the suffering of the people of Tigray is enabling Abiy Ahmed's government to slaughter children with impunity.
International organizations condemned the airstrike in children's playground and kindergarten in Magala. On Friday, UNICEF Executive Director Catherine Russell issued a statement condemning the airstrike in Magala that took the lives of several civilians, including 3 children, and wounded many more. Catherine said an escalation of violence in North Ethiopia has caused children to pay the heaviest price and called for an end to the conflict. The European Commissioner for Crisis Management, Janis Lenarcic, also condemns the airstrike and called on the Ethiopian government to respect international humanitarian law. Lenarcic stressed that civilians are not a target and warring parties should make protection of civilians their priorities. Director for World Health Organization Dr. Tedros Adhanom, on his part, also said he was at loss of words after this terrible event. Tigray religious leaders condemned the airstrike in a children's playground and kindergarten in Magala on Friday. The religious leaders say the airstrike claimed the lives of innocent children and called upon their counterpart in Ethiopia to urge for the cessation of hostilities and find a peaceful settlement of the conflict. For more, I will Zakabu.
Tigray religious leaders condemned air raids in kindergarten in Magala on Friday and said the airstrike claimed lives of innocent children. The religious leaders also said they are sad to hear the eruption of hostilities amid hopes for reconciliation.
ህፃናት እንታይ ገይሩ?
What is the fault of these children? What have they done to be victims of this attack? Children and women are victims of every attack. We had big hopes that the conflict will be settled with negotiations. I want to express my sorrow by the breach of the humanitarian truce. Peace is very important to humankind. Peace cannot be attained only by ambition. It demands dedication and determination to achieve it. As we give this statement, we are in a state of grief. We are witnessing atrocities that have never happened. Even though the atrocities are all over the country, in Tigray, it's unlike any other, as banking and telecommunication services, including the electricity supply, have been cut off.
The religious leaders reiterated on the need to resolve the conflict peacefully and called upon the Ethiopian religious leaders to urge for the cessation of hostilities and find peaceful settlement of the conflict.
መራሕቲ ሃይማኖት ኢትዮጵያ ኣብ ኩሉ ኣብ ተፈላለየ ክልላት ኢትዮጵያ እውን ዘለዉ ንሰላም ድፊት ክገብሩ
Ethiopian religious leaders should pressure for peace. It is the people that are dying. It is the children who are being the main victim of the conflict. These children lost their lives in a cruel manner. It is the civilians who are dying in every conflict in Ethiopia. Ethiopia religious leaders should pressure the Ethiopian government to come into peaceful negotiation. They have to refrain from supporting conflicts. They should call for peace. They should ask their government to cease hostilities.
ሰላም ይፈትሐልና ኢና ንብል ዘለና ምክንያቱም ኣብ ጦርነት ዘይ ዕንወት ዘይ ጥፍአት ዘይ ህልቂት ምንም ተረኸበ ነገር የለን
We still call for peace. We didn't benefit from previous fights. They only brought us loss and destruction. Attacks are being conducted on civilians. Ethiopia should solve its problem with negotiation. Religious leaders who call up on the extermination of the people of Tigray need to stop.
The religious leaders criticized the international community for inaction where the people of Tigray died from starvation and air raids and urged for action rather than statement of concerns.
In fact, different organizations in the international community condemned the airstrike. We also heard that they were shocked by the renewed fighting, but the international community should be beyond statements of concern. It should start taking serious measures. What are the Europeans waiting for? Are they waiting until we all die? The Orthodox Church calls for peaceful settlement of the conflict. We need the international community to help us on this. We need peace.
Victims of the deadly airstrike conducted in Mekelle on Friday were laid to rest. The airstrike conducted by Ethiopian Air Force targeted a children's playground and kindergarten, leading to the death of at least 7 individuals, including 6 and 10-year-old children, while injuring scores more. Our reporters attended the funeral of the victims in Abuna ገብረ መንፈስ ቅዱስ Church in Mekelle and spoke with their parents and loved ones, including a mother who lost a son to the airstrike and whose daughter is admitted to hospital for heavy injury. For more, Salome Tigrai.
Thomas Teferi Bahar.
My son, his name was Thomas Teferi. He was working at the garage. All of a sudden, there was an airstrike, and he was killed. My son is only 17. Many of the remaining were little children.
My son was mourning the death of his grandmother. It has only been 7 days since she passed away. He told me it was time to go back to work, and he did. He went to the garage and he died there.
The attack was against children. It was against children who were playing. It's my brother. I don't have the words to express this.
His name was Barakat. He was 10 years old. He was in the kindergarten when the airstrike took place. I was in a different place. At the time I arrived, he was dead.
My son's name is Barakat Haftum. He was 10 years old. My 7-year-old daughter was also injured, and she is in a hospital. Her name is Arem Haftam. They went out to play. They were hit there.
The world needs to see what has happened. They need to know what is happening. We are being attacked while we are seated at home. The world needs to put a solution to this. Ethiopian government conducted its first daily airstrike in 5 months, days after a large-scale military offensive on positions held by Tigray armed forces. The airstrike was conducted on a residential area where children's playground and kindergarten are located, killing 7 civilians, including children, and wounding several more. Abraha Gabertinsai had the details.
Mekelle, the capital of Tigray, has been devastated with the first deadly aerial bombardment in 5 months since a humanitarian truce was declared in late March. The airstrike killed 7 civilians, including children, and wounded many more. We spoke to victims of the airstrike at either hospital that say a children's playground, residential homes, and small business in the area were targets of the attack.
We were drinking coffee inside our home. We heard a violent noise followed by a heavy strike. Our house collapsed on us. The area is a residential area. There is no military target around. It was around 12 a.m. It's hard to explain. This is nothing but cruelty. We were at home having coffee. My kids were with me. That's when the strike happened. There is a children's playground which belongs to SOS kindergarten school nearby. What can be said about this deadly strike? The perpetrators are devils. We have been starving to death for such a long time, and now they have rewarded us with an airstrike. We were inside our home. I was eating lunch and my mom was having coffee. My sister was also there. Out of nowhere, the airstrike happened. Behind our house is a children's playground. Only God knows how many children have been killed by the strike. It was around 12 a.m. Everyone was supposed to be home for lunch. Innocent children have been killed in today's airstrike. God saved my son. He was near the area that was hit. Children who were playing with him have been killed.
Abebe is a coordinator of the emergency ward at Eider Hospital. He says he is shocked by what he has witnessed today.
What we witnessed today is absolutely horrific. It's really hard to explain. We have reached a point where we cannot save lives despite our 24 hours effort. What happened to the civilians and children today is painful.
Despite the bombardment of children's playground and civilian residences, the Ethiopian government released an urgent notice moments after the attack, warning civilians to stay away from military equipment and training facilities.
Our reporters spoke with civilians in the area that helped dig out the dead and the wounded yesterday. They say they were shocked to find that the attack was conducted in a residential area where a kindergarten was located, and horrified at finding dismembered bodies at the site. Sarah Kalali has the details.
The Ethiopian government has conducted an airstrike in Mekelle, the capital of Tigray, at noon today. The attack comes days after its large-scale military offensive on positions held by Tigray armed forces in southern Tigray. The bombardment killed 7 civilians, including 3 children, and wounded many more. Residents in the area that have come to help the wounded say the aerial bombardment targeted a residential area, a children's playground, and small businesses around.
We heard a loud and disturbing sound. Then we found out that the sound came from here. We came here running and saw what happened. This is a playground for children. We saw the dead, including the children, and their torn apart bodies. The houses nearby are destroyed, including my own house. The roof has completely collapsed. This is deeply saddening. I don't know what to say. They are innocent children. Anyone can see that this is children's playground. We sent a few of the injured to the hospital. The rest are still here. We were at Agazi Hotel when we heard the sound of the jet. When we got up to look, we learned that it hit the children's playground. We found children lying on the ground. This was a children's playground. We saw the dead. A lady was hit in the eye, and houses were destroyed. Everything was destroyed. It is so sad. I was nearby when the airstrike took place. When we heard the sound, we came running. As we got here, we sent many of the injured to either hospital on people's cars. As you can see, we are still digging and finding amputated bodies. It's so sad.
Tigray External Affairs Office had released a statement on Wednesday where it said Abiy Ahmed's government is making groundless claims to lay a fertile ground to conduct airstrikes across the state and called on the international community to do its part in averting possible assaults on civilians.
Today, our reporters visited the site of the attack and interviewed Samson Kabada, owner of Rest Kids Paradise, the children's playground that was targeted in the airstrike. Samson tells us due to the bombardment, he has lost 13 million birr worth of property. SOS Kindergarten Maqala, a kindergarten donated by SOS Kinderdorf International in April of 1983, was also another target of the attack. For more, Saron Zakai.
On August 26 of 2022, at midday, a fighter jet belonging to the Ethiopian government carried out a bombardment in a residential area commonly known as 07 Kabele. The airstrike killed 7 civilians, including children, and injured many more. The horrific airstrike shocked residents in the area. Many who have come to pick up the dead and help the wounded were shocked by the sight of bodies of children. Soon after the attack, the Abiy Ahmed's government denied that civilians had been hurt, claiming that the bombardment targeted a military facility and accused the Tigrayan authorities of fabricating the attack by dumping body bags at the site. We visited the area on the next day of the bombardment to see where the airstrike had been carried out. This is Rest Kids Paradise. This playground was one among many civilian properties targeted by the bombardment. This area you see here used to be a playground, a park built for children. But now, as you can see behind me, everything is destroyed. It was bombarded by the Ethiopian regime in August 26 of 2022. Other than this playground, a hotel, a kindergarten, and other residential areas were also bombarded as it was carried out in residential area. Owner of the children's amusement park, Samson Kabada, says he invested more than 13 million birr to build this playground. Now, due to the bombardment, all of it has been destroyed, and 2 children were also killed at the playground.
As you can see, there is no military facility or military camp nearby. This is a playground. And what you see right across this playground is a kindergarten, the SOS Kindergarten. This area is a residential and recreational area. On this playground, 2 children immediately died after the attack. The outdoor playing area has been totally destroyed. The indoor games are also out of use.
A kindergarten in front of the playground was also attacked. SOS Kindergarten Maqala is a kindergarten donated by SOS Kinderdorf International in April of 1983. This kindergarten is the SOS Hermanga Miners Kindergarten. The SOS Hermanga Miners Kindergarten was one of many civilian properties damaged by yesterday's airstrike. As you can see here, the glasses, the windows are all shattered and everything is damaged.
The airstrike was carried out in a kindergarten and a playground. This organization is a non-governmental organization. It isn't affiliated with any political or military entity. But as you can see, the windows, the roofs, and the classrooms are all damaged.
Several houses were also damaged by the airstrike. These are just few of the many households devastated by the brutal attack. Residents in the area tell us that they struggled to dig out children as they were buried inside their homes.
Children were here when the bombardment was carried out. They were buried inside their homes. We struggled to dig them out of the ruins. This is just a residential area. I don't know why it would be targeted. Our house collapsed on top of us. We only have the clothes on our backs. Everything else got destroyed.
Shattering a 5-month-long humanitarian truce, the Ethiopian government has yet again launched an aerial bombardment targeting civilians in Tigray, leaving many in grief and fear of imminent airstrike.
And that's the news for today. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.